Welcome to NetWitness 12.3 New Features Training. In this video, we will discuss the ESA enhancements that has been made as part of the NetWitness 12.3 release. Let's jump into the demo. The first feature is with respect to the fast deploy of the ESA deployments. Traditionally, whenever you make changes to add an ESA rule that is associated with the deployment, you have to perform the deploy action to update the engine on the correlation server with the changes that has been made for the particular ESA rule. With the help of fast deploy, only the changes of that has been made as part of this particular rule is updated to the ESA engine on the correlation server, which means that the entire engine would not be removed and redeployed as compared to that of the deploy action. For example, right over here, we have the deployment with the rule, which was being updated by the admin user. As soon as you perform the fast deploy action, only the changes that has been made for that rule is added to the deployment, but not the entire deployment would be stopped and redeployed. In this case, the deployment would still be consuming and running, but any new changes that has been made with respect to the rules or added to the deployment and the subsequent session which is consumed by ESA or the correlation server is processed with this new changes. This would help the admins update the deployments on the fly, without interrupting their correlation process. Now within the content library, you will also be able to view the severity and notifications that has been associated with a particular rule, and the same information would also be available over the ESA Rule Overview panel. The same information would also be available within the Policy Details view for all the event stream analysis rules that are associated with this policy. You can also filter the ESA rules based upon their severity using the filter panel that is available over here. The same can be performed within the content library using the filter panel. The second feature that we will be looking at is the ability to edit or create any ESA rule from the content library. Traditionally, you have to go through the ESA rules section and perform edit or create an ESA rule. With the new version, you can create or edit and essentially manage the ESA rules within the CCM. And so, if you want to edit or create an ESA rule, all you have to do is go to your content library and select Create Rule. It can be either the Advanced or the Rule Builder. For the demo purpose, we'll be using the Rule Builder. As soon as you click on that option, you will be redirected to the legacy page, where you will be asked to enter the required details for the new rule. Let's create a demo rule. Write the name as Demo Condition. Choose Event. OS, choose Operator to be as one of, and value equal Windows, and click Save. As soon as you click Save, this ESA rule will be available in your content library. For example, right over here, let's choose the filter field name to be Contains Demo. You could see that the custom rule is available in the content library. Once it's available, you can then add it to your existing policy, or create a new policy, and make use of these rules in your deployments. To edit the rule, the Edit Rule option is available in the Rule Overview section, right over here. When you select this option, the Rule Builder edit form is opened automatically, and you could edit your rule, and the same changes would be available in your content library. The next feature we will be looking at is the deployment stats that has been moved to the CCM. This means that the deployment stats would be available within the CCM, so that you don't have to navigate through the older ESA rules page to look at your ESA rule stats. For example, right over here. Traditionally, to look at the stats, you would have to select this Services tab and select the deployment name to look at its stats. Going forward, you can look at the deployment stats on an individual deployment basis, right over here. Or when you select a particular deployment, you could see there is a Deployment Stats button. When you click on the Deployment Stats, all the deployment-related stat information is available within this page. You can also enable or disable the rules within the Deployment Rules Stats page. Right over here. There is also an added new stat, which you can make use of, as the data source stats. The display will show all the data source stats, like what is the last day of session ID, how many session ID behind on that particular data source, and you can perform the refresh action, so that the stats get updated, or to get the latest stats. If you need to make any changes to your deployment, you can click on Edit Deployment button right here, which should take you to the Edit Deployment view, where you can perform any edits. The final feature available is the multi-user notification, which helps in large environments where multiple administrators work on different ESA deployments. So whenever an inside deployment is being edited by user A, and the same deployment is being edited by user B, the user A and B would be notified that the other user, in this case user B, is editing the deployment. Or when the user B saves the deployment, the user A is notified about the changes made by the user B, or if the user B deletes the deployment, the user A is notified, or both about the deletion of the deployment. Let's look at an example right over here. We have an admin user, and let's log in with a different user called Content Admin. Let's edit this deployment called Deployment 2. As you can see, the admin user is editing the deployment right over here, and the content admin tries to edit the same deployment. You could see that both users are notified about the actions of the other users. For example, in case of admin, we notify that content admin is editing the deployment, and in case of content admin, we notify that the admin is editing the deployment. Let's say the content admin makes some changes to the deployment and saves it. You could see that the admin is notified with whatever the changes that has been made by the content admin. And as soon as the content admin removes the deployment, the admin is notified that the deployment does not exist anymore, and he will be redirected to the unified ESA deployments view. Thank you.